Tonight we have year 2 of the APBL draft order show, and it's coming at you in about 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Sport Management Solutions, your one-stop shop for all your athletic communication needs. Let's see who's out there tonight. That number jumped quick. It went from 0 to 6 really fast. If you're out there tonight, make sure you leave us a comment so we know that you are there. I know a couple of people were asking to jump on here live with me. The screens are a little bit different than what I've used to over the last couple of years of making this happen. Getting ready to shift you guys all up to the 65-inch TV. Hopefully, I'll be able to read your comments and then be able to put anybody on the screen as we get ready to do this later. Everything is set on this side. Everything should be good over there now. Hanley, you were asking for an invite to come in here. Let me get Discord pulled back up on the computer, send you a link for you and anybody else that might want to jump on here. Ferg is on with us tonight as well. Ferg, I know you're not participating in the baseball this year. I appreciate you being around nonetheless. Let me get this link. Oh, it has been a night, I tell you. So after I got everything set up and I thought was good to go, my little one asked me for a little bit of math homework tonight to help with her math homework. And I'm not sure what the 2 hours is for. She asked for a little bit of math homework or help with her math homework. And when I came back up, the TV had completely shut itself off because it had been inactive for so long, which then messes up all of my settings with everything that I need to do for you all or with you all for this show. The way it works out is that one slide that you see at the beginning to kind of tell myself about me being cheap, budget-wise, I can't put any images up on StreamYard while I have the free version of it. If I pay $20 a month, I can put endless number of images up there, but I'm still going cheap for right now. So we can put videos up, which is odd to me. So for me to get that up on the screen, what I end up doing is I do a PowerPoint presentation that has slides in it that you've seen on some of the other shows. On a show like tonight, had one slide. That was it, right? But to get it to work, I have to have the TV on first. Then I start the PowerPoint presentation. I say, start the presentation. It pops up on a big screen. I share that big screen with you all. Hanley's getting ready to jump in. Hanley, I'll pull you in a second because I want to see your new setup as well. Damien's out there. JB's out there. Randy's out there with us. Appreciate you all being here. Looks like a total of 10 people now. Awesome. So anyways, when that TV went down earlier, it didn't matter that I started the presentation again on PowerPoint because when the TV went down, it decided it wanted to pick one of the two screens that's in front of me instead for it to do the presentation, which does not work with the setting that I got for you guys. So to shut everything down and pick it all back up again. I see a message over in their private chat. Let me pull it up real quick. Just Hanley with a period. I think he just wanted to let me know that you were here. I see you over there. So Damien asked me earlier, the mad scientist asked me, why was this one any different than what we're used to seeing? For that reason was one of them. Everything went down. It's very rarely that I have to put the stuff up on the big screen whenever I do these, because usually I'm able to get all of the dice screens to fit, blah, 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 and all that stuff. In this case, because we have 14 teams in the APBL, our Alliance Professional Baseball League, I can't use dice this year as far as putting a team into a slot 1 through 12 because a 14-sided dice does not exist. So I have to use a wheel this year to be able to do this. And I've got it all set up. Should pop up here shortly in a second. Before I do that, though, I'm going to bring Hanley in. What's up, my friend? How are you?
What's going on?
What's going on, man? So I got a split there, so you might need to move your camera around a little bit. I can't tell what you're wearing because I don't have my glasses on. I'm assuming you got some Tiger stuff on.
Here,
that would be my
guess. Does that help?
That helps a little bit. That's nice. I like it. All right. Put yourself on mute for a second.
Training AL Cy Young, you can't go wrong.
put yourself on mute for a second for me while I explain this for the people who have not seen this before and the new people for this year. I know you're new to this year, but you've seen this before on the football side. So for the couple new people that we got in the league this year, one being my sister Betsy, another one being Katie, who's her first year playing WRL and baseball with us, who have not been a part of this process, but maybe have seen it on other videos. I'll show you how this is going to go down. A couple things that we've got. Let me put the screen up first. I have to get this going right here. Who else popped in? Gerard is popping in as well. Gerard, I'm going to pull you in as well. Make sure you got clothes on. Okay, you do have clothes on. Good deal. Mute yourself. That way I explain this.
That man said, make sure you have clothes on. You're childish for that. I just want to let you know that.
I'm muting you. All right. So for those who haven't seen this before, this is the draft order show. In this case, it's going to be for baseball this year, the APBL. This is our second year officially of doing this under the FSA umbrella. We've done baseball a couple of times with FSA, but not ever officially. Second year of this, we decided that we are going to expand. Oh, Lord, who else popped in? I just heard another beep. Who's out there? Matt is out there as well. Matt Kroll, the world famous, is out there as well. Mute yourself too. He's already muted. He came in muted. See, smart man. All right. So, God, you guys got me thrown off when I heard that second beep come in. This is how we do our draft order show. We've got 14 teams this year. I know where I was going with it. We had 12 teams last year. We want to do an expansion to 14 or 16 this year. We had a couple teams that dropped off, so we needed to replace a couple of teams and then also get us to the number 14. The whole point of the APBL is for us to eventually have 120 teams in this league. It is going to be a promotion and relegation league. It is going to very much mirror Major League Baseball, where we will have a Major League level, a AAA level, a AA level, and a single A level, which is why we use real Major League Baseball team names in this instance, which is different than what we do with the APFL, which is an emulation of the NFL, and we use different logos. I thought that people would be a little bit more familiar with baseball, especially as we go promotion and relegation at different levels, if we use existing logos and team names, which is why we're doing that. Somebody answered me. Thank you, Matt. What was it? What is that? I have proof that shirts are optional. God, don't ever show that picture again. Y'all need to lose that picture out of existence. All right. So let me get this started with everybody. Let me show you what we've got here and how this process goes. I have the 14 logos for the teams that are participating in the APBL cut out right here. I'm going to go through each one of these, so each one of the general managers gets their shout out. I'm going to fold them up as I do it. I'm going to throw them in a hat. As you can see, I'm wearing the Cincinnati Reds hat tonight. That is my team in the APBL. I'm using the Chicago White Sox hat tonight. This is my sister's team. She is a huge Cubs fan. However, with the Cubs team already taken, she wanted to get as close to Chicago as she could, so she ended up taking the White Sox. That's going to be our hat that we're going to shake the dickens out of, to pull names out of tonight. So let me put the board up for us so everybody can see this. I got to figure out where I'm going here. Let's do a shared screen. Let's do entire screen. Let's do this over here. All right. So I don't know how this is going to look with all of us on the screen right now. Might be a little small. I will kick all of us out once we get started here. So what we do, for those that are watching at home, we end up folding the 14 teams, put them in a hat. We shake the hat. We pull a team name out. In this case, because we have the 14 teams, there's not a 14-sided die. We roll the wheel that is on the left-hand side. It's got the cogs 1 through 14 on it. Whatever number comes up, that is the number, the spot that we put that team on the board. And then we roll what we call the action dice. That's the 2 6-sided dice that you see in the middle of the screen. Those 2 6-sided dice come up with a total very much like craps, 2 through 12. As you can see, hopefully you can read it, that list that is on the far right-hand side is what that action dice does to the board. We will continue this process until all 14 teams are on the board. We wipe that 2 through 12 away. We bring up 2 4-sided dice, so we have the numbers 2 through 8 instead. We get one final roll. That final roll will do something to the board, and then after the board is settled, that will be our final draft order. Our draft is set for March for the APBL, as the Major League Baseball season starts in Japan again this year. with games on the 18th and 19th. There'll be a small couple of day break in there, and then they will come back and continue on with the season back on the state side with a week-long set of games. I believe that we ended up with 10 or 11 games that counted for the first 7 games in week 1. And then we do the same thing when we get to the All-Star break in the middle of the season. More to follow for those that are in the APBL. We'll get that information out on Discord. All right, so let's get these things folded. While I'm folding, I'm going to bring you guys all in, or unmute yourself if you can. If you can't unmute yourself, let me know. I think that's Randy over there in the corner. I saw the Cardinals on there, so I think Randy's here now. There he is. I'm going to bring Matt back in as well. I think that's Randy over there in the corner. I saw the Cardinals on there, so I think Randy's here. I got to mute somebody. Randy's is on a very big delay, and I can hear myself, Randy, so that's why I had to mute you. All right, so let's go through this. All right, so representing the New York Yankees this year, and for his second year, we got Metric Dunnings in there. For the second year in a row, and representing the Chicago Cubs, we got Eric Talbot. We'll fold these up and put them in as I'm introducing everybody. If you're out there and I introduce you, you can say a hello if you would like. Cincinnati Reds is myself for the second year in a row. Hello to myself. How many people do we got out there right now? 8? Okay, so we lost a couple people. That's all right. Damian Gratz, last year's champion, San Francisco Giants for the second year in a row. Jason Hazlett for the Cleveland Guardians for his second year in a row. Next up is Gerard Petrino. Coach Gerard is out there with us tonight. He is being represented by the Atlanta Braves.
What up?
What up? So we got MJ. MJ doesn't need a last name. She's like Madonna. She just needs the MJ, and that's it. She is being represented by the LA Angels again this year. Randy, who was out there, which we had to mute. Hopefully he's still out there and didn't get mad at me for having to mute him. Give me a thumbs up, Randy. He is being represented by the St. Louis Cardinals. Then we got Kelvin Ringgold, who is being represented for the second year in a row by the Baltimore Orioles. And I might be talking a little bit faster than I'm actually getting them up on screen, but I promise you're still seeing this real time. And then one of our new general managers for the year, being represented by the Detroit Tigers, is Hanley. Hanley, how do you say your last name?
Huff, like you think of it as Huff.
Like a cough, but without the C.
Yeah.
I definitely would have said that wrong because I've been saying ho this whole time, which is way worse than what I thought. All right, we got Katie coming in this year. She is one of our new general managers. She is picking up the Texas Rangers team, who was actually represented by Matt Brown last year. Matt was one of the guys that exited out of the league. Katie is actually born in Texas and decided to have the Texas Rangers be her representation. My sister Betsy, who's going to be the Chicago White Sox. We already talked about her fandom of the Chicago Cubs. She wanted to get as close as she could to Chicago, so she is being the White Sox this year. We got the Boston Red Sox, Jonathan Broughton, who co-managed the St. Louis Cardinals with Randy last year. He has decided to take his own team, and he will be the Boston Red Sox. And then Matt Kroll down there in the corner on my screen, the Toronto Blue Jays, the only team still represented by Canada, and he is our one Canadian general manager as well. Glad to have you all here. All right. All four, you guys can't see that. Maybe you can. All 14 teams are in the hat. I'm going to get us all off the screen now. If your voices are out there, they can. You guys can talk if you would like. I wish I could get this board bigger for you all. I cannot. We will find a way to get around this next year. I know some people put in new equipment just to watch this show tonight. I think Hanley said something about adding like a 50 TV or something for this.
Yeah, exactly.
You heard tarps were being optional for the are we talking about shirts? Is that what that is? I don't know what tarp is. Is that a Canadian thing? You trying to be Canadian now. All right. I'm going to close up the hat. I'm going to shake the dickens out of it. I'm going to end up pulling a team out of here. Canadian for Jersey. Oh, I never knew that. All of the things that I gave the missus about the business this morning about Canada stuff, and I've never heard that. I know what a toque is, though. I do know what that is. All right, let me shake this up. We're going to pull a team out of here. We're going to spin the wheel this year since we don't have 14-sided die, and we're going to put this team on the board. Now, it will take a little bit longer because the wheel takes some time to spin. It's not like rolling the dice. But the first person we have out of the hat is St. Louis Cardinals and Randy. Randy, we're going to spin this wheel and figure out where we're putting you on the board at. We are putting you in the number 8 spot to start off with. All right, so let me get down here to the St. Louis team. Let me unlock you. Let's move you into the number 8 spot. Let me make it pretty because you know I care. All right, now let's roll some action dice. Let's get the 2 6-sided die here in the middle. I'm going to roll those and see what happens. We got a 10, which means we're going to be a 3-team swap with 3 spins. So this is a little bit tougher, which is what's going to take a little bit longer this year as well, because I have to do spins. I can't do 3 dice all at once. I got to find me a good book here. Let me see that I have baseball stuff in. That way I can keep up with it. I guess we're going to have to use this one right here. All right, so let's do 3 spins. See if an 8 is involved in any of them, to be able to move Randy around since he's the only team on the board. So we have the number 8, so that's easy. All we're going to do is roll 1 time. Randy, you are going to move to whatever the next number is. Don't even have to write that one down yet. You are moving to the number 2 spot. So the Cardinals are now up in the number 2 spot. And we go back over to the action dice. Action dice say 6, which means we're going to swap teams' positions with 2 spins. Only way we're going to swap anything right now is if a 2 is spun in these next 2 spins. We have a number, I guess that's 9. And if this comes up a 2, Randy, you being the only person on the board, are moving again to the number 9 spot. That does not look like it's going to be the case. So we're going to roll action dice. Action dice say 4, which means we're going to move everybody up or down 1 position based on an odd or an even number. We will spin the wheel. If it is an odd number, everybody moves up 1 position. If it's an even number, everybody moves down 1 position. When we say up and down, think about this board as being linear, like a ladder with 1 at the top and 14 at the bottom. This is an odd number, so everybody's moving up 1 position. Randy's still the only man on the board, has now seen the number 8 spot, the number 2 spot, and now sits in the number 1 spot. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice say 3, which means we're going to pull a team from the board. Unless we roll a 1, Randy stays on the board. What would be the craziness that we roll a 1 and he comes off the board? All right, nothing happens there. Let's roll some action dice. I got to take a drink, sorry. Delicious. All right. It says we have to spin until an open position gets filled. That means I have to pull another team out of the hat first. And then because we have to spin until an open position is filled, since Randy's in the number 1 spot, as long as we roll any other number, Jonathan will go on the board as the Boston Red Sox. The two owners that co-owned a team last year are going to be the first 2 on the board. So Jonathan is now going to go into the number 8 spot, where Randy started off in the first place. And now we have 2 out of the 14 teams on the board. Let's go to some action dice. Make sure, where did I end up putting your paper out there, Randy? I must have stacked this somewhere. There we go. I got to keep them in case we got to pull anybody off the board and put them back in the hat for any reason. 6 says we're going to swap positions with 2 spins. Unless we get a 1 or an 8, we don't have to worry about it. Let's see what happens. All right, that is a number 11. So if we get a 1 or an 8 here, one of you will be moving to the 11 spot. If we don't get a 1 or an 8, we go back to the action dice. Randy, you're moving to the 11 spot. So now you've seen 8, 2, 1, and 11 with only 2 teams on the board.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I love doing this. This is my favorite way of doing these things. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, at least it's done. Snake guys. Well, at least it's done and over early. This is exactly where I needed to find Randy's logo. So Snake Eyes means we clear the board. For those of you who have watched this for a couple of years, when we ended up having a draft order show one year that we had multiple snake eyes, we decided to do away with that. So now that we've had our first snake eyes, which is clear the board, now if we get another snake eyes, it is a 3-team swap. Good thing is we only have 2 teams on the board. We're only a couple minutes into the show. The bad thing is for me, I have to fold these 2 guys' teams up, both Jonathan and Randy, throw them back in the hat, and then we pretend like none of that we just did for the last, 15, 20 minutes happened, and we start all over again. So MJ says, Randy's all over the board. She's ready for a new season. Let's pull another team out of here. We'll spin the wheel and put that team on the board. That team is going to be Boston Red Sox. All right, so we pull Jonathan right back out of the hat. We're going to put him on the board in the number. Oh, I shook, man. I shook it. So Jonathan's going in the number 10 spot. So let me lock Randy's again so I don't accidentally move him. Let's go back up here to Boston. Let's put Jonathan in the number 10 spot. All right, let's roll some action dice. It's naturally going to take a little bit longer in these with 14 teams over 12 teams. 6 means we're going to swap with 2 spins. So with Jonathan being in 10, let's roll the first one. First one is 2. If we get a 10 on this one, Jonathan will move into the number 2 spot. It is not, so we go back to the action dice. Action dice says 5, which means that we will spin until an open position is filled. To do that, we have to pull another team out of the hat. So let me shake up the Chicago White Sox hat here. Let's get another team out of the hat. That team is the White Sox, my sister. Betts, you are going to go into an open spot. So if we roll a 10, we will have to spin again. But we don't. So we are going to put you in the number 11 spot. For the moment, as you all have seen, this stuff changes a lot, especially with that last roll. Everybody's safe until the last roll of the dice. Let's roll some action dice. Let's see. 9. 9 means we're going to swap teams' positions with 2 spins. So this is where I need to start writing down. Let me get another page open up because this is where I might start forgetting things. So we've got a number 1. And if we roll a 10 or 11 in this next roll, that person in 10 or 11 will go to number 1. All right, we did not get a 10 or 11, so we will go back to the action dice. I know you guys are talking about that dish that Matt posted earlier. I really need to know what that was because I'm curious. You said it while I was in middle school in baseball. I have no idea what I was looking at.
We got some Emerald Lagasse stuff going on the feed sometimes.
We got some what?
Some Emerald Lagasse type stuff going on it.
Oh, yeah. With everybody posting all of the food stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna roll with we're gonna swap with 2 teams again. So let me see what I get here with a spin. Gerard popping back in again. Let me see if I can get you up on the screen there, bud. All right, and then you guys will still be in the background to talk. All right, so we got a 13. So if we roll or spin a 10 or 11 in this case, one of those 2 teams will go to the 13 spot. Oh, just missed. We got a 12, so we go to some action dice. Now, I did find something interesting about this wheel earlier today that I didn't know whenever we did this last time. And when I say I did this last time, you guys haven't seen this. I did this method with the wheel when I did a league for one of Matt's friends that's up in Canada, and they had a 14-team league. I did not realize, even though we have on the cogs 1 through 14 in number order, I can actually hit a button that will randomize. So it's not 1 through 14. And I can continue hitting that button as many times as I want. So one of my thoughts that I actually thought about doing tonight was every time before I got ready to spin was randomize it. So it would always be in a different order. Now, since I haven't started it from the get-go, I'm not going to do it now. But we rolled an 8 or spun an 8, which means we're going to spin the wheel until we get an open position. In this case, whoever we pull out, we just continue to spin until we get 1 through 9, 12, 13, 14. And that is going to be Hanley is coming out of the hat, getting ready to go on the board. So you will be going on the board in one of these spots. Let's put you in the number 12 spot. All right. Let's do Detroit. Did not mean to close you out right there. Bring you down here. Number 12, and you were on the board. Let's roll some action dice. Okay, Hanley, how's it look on the big screen that you set up?
Good.
Okay, good. I'm glad you can see it. 7 means that we're going to spin till an open position is filled. So the next team out of the hat will go on the board. We just have to continue spinning until an open spot comes up. Matt, you're getting ready to go on the board. Toronto Blue Jays is going to go into, I feel like if it's a low number now, I feel like it's staying low for some reason. Oh, okay, maybe not. I was going to say maybe we need to start doing the random thing, but we are not. We're going to put Toronto in the number 5 spot. And Matt, that's where you sit for the moment. Let's roll some action dice. We have a 10, which means we're going to do a 3-team swap with 3 spins. So I need to be writing these down in case this applies to us here. All right, so we have a number 10, which means Jonathan is going to be moving somewhere. He's going to move to the next spin. He will be going to the number 8 spot. And then if for some reason we end up rolling a 5, 11, or 12, they will go into the 10 spot. And that is a 13, so that doesn't affect anybody. So, Jonathan, you are going to move to the number 8 spot. And we roll some action dice. Action dice says 7. We're going to shake the hat. We're going to pull a team out. We're going to put them on the board in one of the open spots. We continue to spin till an open position is filled. See who we're pulling out. The wheel looks sharp. I appreciate that. I definitely know it's going to take a little bit longer than whenever we do it. Damien says it's weird not seeing your face. I definitely have a face for radio. I don't think I have a voice for that either. It is a little bit slower because the wheel, we can't roll 3 dice at the same time. I am going on the board. Cincinnati. You know what? That's right. I didn't even think about this. You guys cannot see what I'm pulling out of the hat by doing it this way. So we need to do this. I don't know if that takes down the viewability of anything. Does the board get too small for everybody, or is it still okay?
Not on a 50-inch screen, it don't.
Just had to rub that in, didn't you? I can tell you it doesn't look bad on a 65-inch screen on this side either. All right, so Matt just popped back in as well. Let me see if I can get him in here so he can at least listen. He can comment if he needs to. All right, so I'm going into the 12 spot, but this is a 7. It says I have to spin until a position is open. Hanley is already in the 12 spot, so I'm going to spin again. So there are ones where you actually pull a team like 8, you'll spin and replace it. In this case, we just keep on spinning until a spot is open. So I will be going in the number 9 spot.
You can have 12 if you want it.
Yeah. Don't know that I really want. It's funny because Gerard and I were talking about on the way home tonight after the baseball game up in Aiken, if we could remember what positions we had last year. I remember I picked 2. He remembers he thinks he was in the middle somewhere of it last year. Definitely going to be a little bit different with 14 teams this year. That's for sure, though. And I don't know why there it goes. It's very delayed. All right. I am on the board now. Let's roll some action dice. All right. We have an 8, which is one of those things that I just mentioned. So we'll pull a team out of the hat this time. If we roll a number where there's already a team on the board, this team that we pull out of the hat right now will replace that team, and that team that's in that spot will go back into the hat. So Jason of the Guardians is getting ready to go on the board. He will go on the board with this spin no matter what, even if it's a spot that's already filled. He is going to go in the number 13 spot. I feel like these numbers are staying really, really low. Does anybody will anybody contest if I say that I want to randomly do the cogs on these next spins? Or do we just keep going the way we're going? I can say let's just keep going the way we're going because there's already almost half the league on the board right now. 6 of us out of the 14 are almost there. I want to keep it consistent. So 6 says we will swap 2 teams' positions with 2 spins. This is why we do the swapping right here. Matt keeps popping in and out. At least I think that's Matt. All right, 14 and whatever the next number is. So if the next number happens to be one of the spots that already has a team in it, they will be moving to the 14 spot. And
it's a 9, hopefully.
It is a number 2. There is nobody in that spot, so we will re-roll the action dice. You really want that churn, don't you? I got a feeling that that's what you wanted when I was driving home tonight, too, whenever you were talking about it. You really want that close to that churn this year.
I'll be happy with 7.
All right, so we got 3. We're swapping 2 teams' positions again because we got 9. So if one of the numbers that has a team in it right now comes up, they will go into the number 3 spot. So at 6, nobody's there. Let's roll some action dice. Action dice, say 11, which means we're going to lock a team. Now, for those that have been around for a little bit, know that if we roll one of the numbers that's on the board right now, that team is locked. No matter what happens, that team cannot move anymore for the rest of the time that we're here. They are locked in that position. That doesn't apply right now. So when that happens, if we've already got the snake eyes out of the way. Even if we had gotten snake eyes after that, that team stays on the board. If we move people up and down the board, people skip over that locked team. If we flip positions and somebody's supposed to flip into that spot, the team that would flip into that spot doesn't move either. Locked has a lot of power in this. Plus, you already know what spot you're picking from then if you have a locked spot. You basically could say goodnight and then log off, and you'd already know where you're picking from. We got another 9, which means we're going to swap teams' positions with 2 spins. So let's get our first number. Keep accidentally closing the browser on your phone. I have heard that when you do this from your phone that it does that. I've never actually done the StreamYard from my phone. In fact, I don't know that I've ever not been on the hosting side of StreamYard, to be honest with you. So 3 and 5 get moved. So Matt, you're in the 5 spot right now. You are moving up to the number 3 spot. And we're going to roll some action dice.
This is the way.
This is the way. 8 means we are going to pull a team out of the hat. We're going to spin the wheel. This team will go on the board no matter what without a second spin needed, because if we spin a number where we have a 3, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, this team will replace that team, and that team that's in that spot will go back into the hat. So we got Damian Gratz, last year's champion, San Francisco Giants, getting ready to go on the board. He will be going in the number 1 spot. So last year's champ now going in the number 1 spot. It's rigged. It's rigged, I tell you. Let's move him into the number 1 spot.
We need to restart and shuffle that wheel.
Yeah, I definitely am not restarting, especially after we already had snake eyes. But lesson learned, if we have to do this with 14 again and at a later date, we will know that we need to change those cogs up, because I feel like it goes from low to high, low to high, low to high. Do pitchers in baseball get treated like quarterback, usually high scoring players? No. Because the pitching rotation is usually every 5 or 6 days, you sometimes will get a pitcher once or twice during the week, and they end up usually scoring about the same as any other player that you have in your roster who's getting stats for the entire week, because you're usually going to get them for 5 or 6 days. So when it balances all out after 7 games, your pitcher will get about the same amount of points as any other position player, except your position players played multiple games throughout the week, and your pitchers might have only played 1 or 2. All right, so we spun an 8 or rolled an 8, which means that we're going to take another team out of the hat. This team will get replaced. I did roll, right? Somebody tell me if I did roll, because we had a 8 for the last one. I did roll. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought I rolled before I read Damien's comment. Okay. Got to keep me straight sometimes. All right, we are going to put MJ on the board with the LA Angels. MJ is going to be a force to reckon with this year after starting the season 0-10 last year. She finally figured it out, and I think she went 10-2 the rest of the season, and she just missed the playoffs as being the last team. So she is an 8, so we will put her in a spot if the number comes up and throw the team that is in the number 3 spot back in the hat. So MJ is coming up on the board, LA Angels. She is going to go into Matt's spot. Matt, you're moving back over here into the on-deck circle. MJ goes into the number 3 spot. We got to find Matt's logo here.
And
Matt's
don't forget to lock Matt.
Why would he get locked? He doesn't get locked.
No, in your list, so you don't move them around if you go to move.
Oh, I got you. Thank you. Let me find him here. Toronto. There we go. Thank you, sir. We're going to roll the action dice. We got a 7, which means we're going to pull a team out. We will continue to spin until we get an open spot. So we have 7 teams on the board, so half the board is filled. So they're stuck together. We will continue to roll or spin until an open spot is filled because it is a 7. Matt going right back on the board. I thought that was the Boston Red Sox when I opened it. So Matt, you're going right back in the board. You're just not going to go in the number 3 spot. You're going to go in the also not number 13 spot because Jason's already there. So we have to spin again until we get a 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, or 14. And then we got 13 again. That tells me that maybe we're okay not to shake up the the cogs on this thing. 5. So Matt is going on the board. All that locking stuff for nothing. So Matt's going back on the board. Let's roll some action dice. I'm starting to go horse. 7, which means the same thing. We're going to pull a team out of the hat. We are going to shake this, or we're going to spin until an open position comes up on the wheel. We got 2, 4, 6, 7, 10, 14 left. Kelvin Ringgold and the Baltimore Orioles are going on the board. Kelvin will be in the number 14 spot. So let's put Baltimore in the 14 spot. How many people do we still have out there watching this? 9. I appreciate the 9 of you that are out there watching right now. All right, let's roll some action dice. Give me just a second. Oh, I don't know what it is. It's super hot in here. And with these headphones on, whew. All right, we're swapping 2 teams' positions with 2 spins. Let's get the first spin in. Got lots of teams on the board. That means lots of people could possibly moving around now. All right, there's nobody in the 4 position currently, but if one of the people that are in a spot come up now, they will move into the number 4 spot, and that is number 3. So, MJ, you're moving down 1 spot from the 3 to the 4. Let me get you centered up here a little bit better. All right, let's roll some action dice. We got a 9, which means we're going to swap teams' positions with 2 spins again. That means Gratz is moving somewhere. He is going to go to, might be swapping with somebody. He is going to swap with me. I like it. I don't know who I would take at the number 1 spot. But it doesn't matter. We get the last spin coming up. Even if I sat in the number 1 all the way to the end, we know that that last spin will move you out of that spot. Sometimes it's better to not be there, especially coming up on the last roll. Got the 8, which means that we are going to put a team on the board. Even if somebody is in that spot, then we will put them on the board and we will pull the team off. Hey, for those that are out there watching who can make a comment, how has the broadcast been so far tonight? Has it been choppy or anything like that? My sister wants to know what I'm drinking. I am drinking Bird Dog Black Cherry Whiskey. Delicious. It's my new favorite drink. MJ says, Gerard, you were 9th last year. MJ was 3rd last year. She found the draft order. Matt says the season doesn't start until I lose my top. Damien saying it's hot. He wants me to take my clothes off. That ain't happening. So Katie, one of our other brand new general managers, is getting ready to go on the board. And since we rolled an 8, she will go on the board and maybe pull somebody off the board. She's going to the number 9 spot. So right where Gratz just was or is or moved to, she is going to take that spot. We're going to put her right there. We're going to move Damien up. We're going to lock him. That way I don't forget. And we're going to put his logo back in the hat. I just have to find it. Damien's logo going back in the hat. But how's it been tonight? Have I been broken up? Have I been chalky? Is the broadcast okay?
Hell, now that you just said something,
little-
you just became choppy as soon as you said
Oh,
something.
of course I did. Of course I did. All right, so we rolled an 8, which means that this team will go on the board. It might replace a player, might replace a team. We are putting Eric, Chicago Cubs, on the board. He is definitely going on the board. In this spot that gets spun, might knock somebody off the board. He is going into the number 8 spot. So Jonathan is coming off the board. Chicago is going on the board. Chicago, come on down. Boston, go back up into the on-deck circle. Put Chicago on the board. Jonathan, we got to get you back in the hat. Let me find your logo here. There you are. Boston Red Sox getting ready to go back in the hat. And let's roll some action dice. How far are we into this show now?
40 minutes.
That's not bad.
You sure you even put
That's not
Atlanta
bad.
in?
Man, I promise you it's in there. All right, we're getting ready to we got a 4, so we're moving up and down. Remember, this thing is like a ladder. 1 is at the top rung, 14 is at the bottom rung. And also remember, this is circular. So if we move and get if we roll this, spin this, and we get an even number, 1 goes down to 2, 14 becomes 1. All right. And if we're moving up the ladder, we get an odd number, 1 becomes 14. All right. So I want everybody to understand that it's circular, but you got to look at it as a ladder. So we're moving up or down the board based on an odd or an even number. We got an even number. So everybody is moving down 1 spot. So that means we'll start here. I'm moving down to 2. 14 is moving up to 1. 13 is moving to 14, 12 is moving to 13, 11 is moving to 12, 9 is moving to 10, 8 is moving to 9. Matt, you're moving down to 6. MJ, you're moving from 4 to 5. All right. And let's roll some action dice. Action dice says 9, which means we're going to swap 2 teams' positions. Let's spin the wheel. Write this number down. Who's yawning? Who was that?
It was a heavy breath. I wasn't yawning.
Oh, okay. Heavy breath. Matt's moving somewhere. Matt is moving to the number 8 spot, which is currently empty. So Matt from 6 to 8. And we roll some action dice. Action dice says an 8, even though it looks like it stopped on its edge. On my screen, it says it's a 5 and a 3, so an 8, which means we're going to pull a team out of the hat. Hopefully it's not Atlanta. And then we will put this team on the board no matter what. And if it's in a spot that already has a team in it, they will come off the board. Look at that. Jonathan going back on the board again. The Bo Sox are going into the number. And when I hold these up, can you guys see these okay as well? All right. So 8. We are going to move Jonathan. Let me see. Did I ever lock him? I don't think I did. Let me move him to the 8 spot. Matt comes off the board again.
Yeah, can I come off the board? Jeez.
You want to come off the board? You want to get ahead of that 13 spot? Well, let's see. I feel like it's not just Gerard that hasn't made the board yet either. Yankees haven't made the board. That might be it. I think you two might be the only 2 that haven't made the board yet.
Well, the Yankees don't need to make
6
the board.
means
They
we're going to
win
swap
it
with 2 spins. So let's see. Number 3 is empty, but that means a team might move into that spot. Let's see who it is. Ooh, 1. So Kelvin is moving from the number 1 to the number 3 spot. And we're going to roll some action dice. 4 means we're going to move everybody up or down 1 position, odd or even. Matt said, did I just get deported? I promise you want to be where you're at right now. All right, let's spin an odd or an even number. Remember, odd as we move up, even as we move down. So we got a 9. Everybody's moving up 1 spot. So I'm going from 2 to 1. 3 goes to 2. MJ, you go from 5 to 4. Jonathan going from 8 to 7. Chicago from 9 to 8. KD going from 10 to 9. Chicago White Sox from 12 to 11. Handley, you're moving up one spot to 12. Don't know how you feel about that. And then Cleveland moving from 14 to 13.
Back to where I was to begin with.
Back to begin with 9. Now we're swapping again with 2 spins. Let's see. I want to get a 3-player swap. That's what I really like to see. All right, so somebody is moving into the number 14 spot unless we roll blank space right now. So 5 and 14 are open, so we'll just go back to the action dice. Action dice say 7 means we're going to pull a team out of the hat, and we will continue to spin until one of those numbers come up. We only have 5 spots left that are open. Be patient, especially with this wheel. It could take us a while to get one of those 5 numbers, but we will continue to roll until we get it. We're putting Matt right back on the board again. Matt, let's see where we put you. We got to keep spinning until we get an open spot. Going to the 14 spot, you did just say here's your chance for the number 1 spot. However, being in the 14 spot is almost as good as being in the number 1 spot based on the way this board can go sometimes. 7 means we're going to pull a team out and we're going to continue to spin. Now we only have 4 holes that are left. So we're going to have to spin until we get a 3, 5, 6, or 10. And we are going to put Cardinals on the board. So Randy getting ready to go back on again. Randy would continue to go 3, 5, 6, or 10. 14 is already filled. Well, let's spin it again. So close with 11. Be patient with the wheel, y'all. 12 is filled. 3, 5, 6, or 10. Ooh, almost had the 10. I'm almost wondering if this isn't the time to swap the cogs out. 6. All right, so we are putting Randy in the number 6 spot. There we go. All right. Let's roll some extras. Yeah, that's it. We have 3 spots left, and there's 3 teams left out there. The 3 that are left are Atlanta, San Francisco, and the Yankees. And Atlanta and the Yankees have not been out of the hat yet. We're going to spin until a position is filled. Again, this could take a while. We need a 3, 5, or a 10 before we put this team on the board. And that team is Atlanta. There you go, Gerard. See, you're actually in the hat. 3, 5, or 10. Who's still out there? Let me see. Let me pull Randy in. He's backstage. Let me see if anybody else is missing. Gerard's still out there. All right, cool. We got a 2. This could take a while, y'all. 3, 5, or 10. Ooh, maybe not so much. There's the 5. All right, Mr. Gerard. Let's put you in the 5 spot. All right, let's roll some action dice. We got a 9, which means we're swapping 2 teams. Almost the whole board's full now. I can see 2 teams definitely moving now. Let's see. We got a 13, which is Cleveland moving with the number 10 spot, who has nobody in it. So 13 just slides up to 10, which means 3 and 13 are now open. Action dice say 7. Which means you're going to pull one of the last 2 teams out of the hat. We have to spin until we get a 3 or a 13. Again, this could take a while. Be patient with the wheel. The Yankees are coming out. Yankees will end up in 3 or 13. Going to be a while. It means the last team that's going to be in the hat is last year's champion after he was already on the board, I think at least once, maybe twice. We'll sit back and get comfortable for this 3 and 13. Maybe not too comfortable. That worked out pretty well. All right, Metric, if you're out there watching this now or later, you are moving into the number 13 spot. That means if we get another one of those rolls that says spin until a position is filled, we know that Gratz is going to go into the 3 spot. Oops, that's not the spot that I wanted to go to. Ignore that wheel. We do not see that wheel. We are getting a 7, which means that the last team out of the hat is going on the board in the number 3 spot. Gratz is going in the number 3 spot. That means we are down to the final roll. So before I pull those dice up, I'm going to flip the rules over. We will take off all of the craps looking rolls. And now we have the final roll up there. Hopefully you all can see that. Final roll. We will roll 2 4-sided die. Let me get the 6-sided die off of my screen here, and I'll pull up 2 4-sided die. You will not see them until you see the roll with those 2 4. We will add the total of the 2 4-sided dice up. We get a 2, we swap 2 teams. A 3, we swap 3. 4, we swap 4. 5, we move teams up or down with the spin of the wheel for an odd or an even. When it says flip a row with a roll, here's what we do. We will spin the wheel. If it ends up being a 1 through 7, we will flip everybody that is in the upper row. 1 becomes 7, 2 becomes 6, 3 becomes 5, 4 stays where they're at. If we spin an 8 through 14, same thing happens. 8 becomes 14, 9 becomes 13. If we get a 7, we flip both rows the exact same way. And if we get an 8, which flips the whole board, then 1 becomes 14, 2 becomes 13, the whole board gets flipped. All right? So this is the last roll, 2 4-sided die. Here's our total. We get a 4, which means we are going to swap 4 teams out with 4 spins. Since the board is full, that means these 4 numbers are very important. If we get a double number, we will end up spinning again. So let's see what we get for the first number. Number 8, which is the Cubs, will be on the move. Cubs will be moving to the number 9 spot. They're going down 1. That means Texas Rangers and Katie are going to move from the number 9 spot to the number 11 spot. And then Betsy, who is in the 11 spot, will end up moving into and it actually ends up being 5 teams that end up actually kind of moving into the 7 spot. Well, no, it's still 4 because 7 moves up to 8. All right, so here's how it looks. Here is your final. 8 goes into 9. 9 goes into 11. 11 goes into 7. And 7 goes into 8. Not a big jump for anybody. People shifted down a little bit, moved all around. There's your final draft order. Let me straighten these up a little bit. We'll get a picture of it. We will post it in the Discord chat for you all. Again, our draft will be on 4 March. That is a Tuesday night. Mark that on your calendars. We will be doing it on Yahoo. It will not be live here. I'm going to try to pick a good time for everybody. I think, Randy, you might actually be the only one. I'm trying to think where Kelvin's at right now. I don't remember where he's at in the country right now. He might be pretty close to you, actually. I do believe everybody else is East Coast. Matt is definitely not East Coast. Matt is in Edmonton, Canada, based on a story I told you all this morning. I do believe Matt's 2 hours behind us. So what we'll try to do is make sure on a Tuesday night, similar tonight, that everybody is available. Randy, I know you were able to make it tonight. Hopefully you'd be able to make it that night. Matt, you were here as well. As I'm going through here, I'm trying to figure these out. Metric is in Texas, I believe. So we might have to work around his schedule as well. He's in the 13th spot right now with the Yankees. So we'll have to work around that schedule. But put it on your calendars. We will work out a time TBD to make that happen. But there is your final order. Cincinnati 1, Baltimore 2, San Francisco 3, LA Angels 4, Atlanta 5, Cardinals 6, White Sox 7, Red Sox 8, Cubs 9, Guardians 10, Rangers 11, Tigers 12, Yankees 13. Matt, you're on the churn at 14.
I don't know.
There's
I think this is fixed. How does the commission end up first?
It doesn't matter. I think I ended up with somebody tell him how many first picks I had. It was like 5 or 6 years in a row. And no BS. I'm pretty sure I picked the wrong first dude every single one of those years. One of those years was, anybody remember who was the consensus number 1 pick in 2015? Would have been a running back. I think it was the Cardinals running back in 15. Somebody help me out.
I wasn't thinking Cardinals. I was thinking Rams. I was thinking Gurley.
See if everybody can pull up who that might have been. I drafted him, and he either got hurt during the first game or was hurt before they went into week 2.
Well, it's no different. Well, look at how many times McCaffrey's gone first and then got hurt and been out most of the season.
Since I don't need these screens anymore, let me put this here so I can go back and do some chatting here. So my sister says it's rigged.
Gurley
this is her
first. Gurley, I didn't mean to cut you off. Gurley was the first running back to go that year.
Okay, go the year before or the year after.
Okay. Year before.
I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure it was the Cardinals.
2016.
Going back through and looking at
Goff was the first pick in 16.
Like consensus across fantasy leagues.
Oh, let me see. Well, that was actual. Sorry, hold on.
Yeah, like there should have been a player that was like hella good the year before, running back. Pretty sure it was
well, I mean, like this past season, look how much Jefferson dropped off compared to the previous season.
Zeke was the first round in 16 fantasy.
I have to go back. So when you do your drafts on Yahoo, and I'm pretty sure it was a Yahoo year, before your draft goes live, it always has like this video that pops up, and it says, hey, such and such is on the clock. Good luck picking. And David Johnson, is that who it was, Damian? David Johnson. Was he? Yeah, it definitely wasn't golf. Yeah, I think it might have been David Johnson. He was the running back for Arizona. I've grabbed him number 1, and I think that was like the 3rd or 4th year that I had the number 1 pick overall.
That's a tough thing about number 1 is because, like, when you have somebody like Gurley or McCaffrey or Justin Jefferson sitting there in front of you, you have to take them.
And if they don't have a year, like, okay, so number 1 last year, correct me if I'm wrong, Gerard, MJ, Randy. I know Randy was on vacation last year. Who went first in our baseball last year? Was it
Ohtani?
Ohtani went,
I would say it had to be Ohtani.
Yeah, and then I took Freeman second.
Yep.
I don't know that I would touch Ohtani this year as the number 1 spot. Now I got to think about it now, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to pick, and then there's 27 other picks before it gets back to me again.
So he's returning back to the biggest changes. He's returning back to a two-way player.
I think he's pitching and hitting again.
He's going to be returning to a two-way player.
Now, let me ask you a question. How does that work? Does that mean he's draftable as 2 players? One is the pitcher and one is the hitter, or is it one person gets both?
So I think the way they did it last year, only because he only hit last year, next to his name it said hitter, right? So it counts as 2 different positions, I believe.
So the name comes up both in the pitching lineup and also the hitting lineup.
Yeah.
So essentially, if he pitched and he hit, you would essentially get credit for both. But it's almost like they counteract each other, right? So if you're pitching and you get points for a strikeout, but then he goes up to bat and he strikes out, you're losing those points.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they counteract.
So, but then it's gonna. So okay. So then he would count as 2 players on your roster because he'd be under your pitchers
Pitching
and
and
your
hitting. I'll tell you what, we'll find out on draft day whenever somebody takes him in the number 2 spot, because I ain't taking him in the number 1 spot. So when Pelton takes the number 2, we'll find out.
I saw something on a ranking that I was looking at, and it showed Ohtani as a pitcher and Ohtani as a hitter, like 2 separate line items.
Yep.
I know some leagues, I know, like when me and Brian were looking at Fantrax, they had him in 2 different positions. They had him as a pitcher and a hitter.
Yeah.
So Yahoo, I don't think they do it that way. They didn't do it that way last year.
But that's because they only hit last year.
Yeah,
too.
he didn't play 2 ways last year.
You know what? Before we draft in 2 weeks, I will find that answer out for you all. Okay. I will find out before we draft in 2 weeks, so you all know. Hey, I appreciate everybody that came online tonight with me. I know Matt's not there right now. Ferg was out there for a little bit. My sister's still on watching. Damien, who came out, who's not playing baseball with us, I appreciate you showing your face too, man. MJ was out there. For those of you that got live and have your stuff on, Detroit, Atlanta, St. Louis, I definitely appreciate that. That makes this fun. Who else did I miss? I don't want to miss anybody who commented or was out there tonight. I know Gratz was out there for a second.
Hey, you like that? Oh, wrong side. I can't.
Where you
there,
man?
You see the
Jonathan was here too.
Jonathan was here. I just saw his name had come across. JB was here.
Yeah, I actually texted him and told him we were on.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, point to it again. I see the Michigan over there. The Michigan corner. All right, gentlemen. And ladies who were out there tonight, I appreciate you all being on. An hour and 1 minute is one of the longest shows we've done in a very long time. So
blame the wheel.
What's up?
I said blame the wheel.
It is definitely a little bit longer with the wheel than it is with the dice. That's for sure. I just wish they made a 14-sided die, but that isn't. The only other way that we could have made this faster is they have random number generators where you don't get to see the wheel. It just pops up with the number. The thing is and this goes back to my computer programming days, there is no such thing as a random number generator. It's still a formula that generates a number, and then they publish that number. It's never a random number generator. I feel like, at least with the wheel, it has like some kind of speed to it. It knows what it's supposed to do. It pops up. I think it would have been better if we swapped the cogs around. So lesson learned, if we ever do an odd number like this again, where we don't have dice that can be used, we swap the cogs around. But it's year 2. Next year, the hope is that we go to 16 or 24 teams. And then once we get past that first amount of only having 1 copy of player, once we reach we have to have 2 copies of players, that's when we're going to start doing promotion and relegation. So hopefully in 2027, at the latest, we start doing promotion and relegation, and we start having some AAA teams in here as well. So, all right, y'all. Thank you again. Thank you to our sponsor, SMS. Thank you personally to Hanley, Randy, and Gerard for hanging around with me for a little bit longer.
Yep.
Betsy asked me what is a swap of the cogs. I'll have to explain that to her a little bit later. I will find out about the Ohtani thing for you guys before we draft. I will copy and paste this board up into the channel, and then I will finalize the teams on Yahoo, get the draft order in, let it do the schedule for us. Last year, Gerard and I sat down with a very complex schedule that we wanted to work. However, it only works with 16 teams. So last year with 12 and 14 with this year, we're just going to let Yahoo do its thing. So you're going to play some teams 3 times. You're going to play some teams just twice. That's just how it's going to work out this year. Let it roll as is. And then next year, hopefully we get to 16 and we can put that schedule that we've got in our minds in place.
There's also weeks where we play, 2 weeks, 1 game is 2 weeks worth of points.
Yeah.
Other games that may not even be a week. It just depends on how it falls. Like All-Star.
Yeah, like week 1.
Week 1 and All-Star week is like that. So to just give you a quick rundown of how it's going to look when we get to 16, you will play everybody inside your division 3 times. You will play everybody in the other division on your side, American League or National League, twice. You will play one entire division in the other league once, and then you will play whatever the MLB's natural rivalry for your team is until we run out of those rivalries, and we just have to start pitting people against each other. Like in this case, Atlanta playing Jonathan, Atlanta versus Boston, natural rivalry.
Or
Cubs
me
versus the White Sox.
Me
You
versus Cleveland.
or Cincinnati versus Cleveland. I have a list of what I don't want to say experts, what the lists that I have found on the internet count as natural rivalries. We will exhaust that list, and then whoever's left over will play against each other. And that will happen one additional game. So if that happens to be in your division, that means you will play somebody in your division 4 times instead. If it happens to be in the division inside your league, that means you'll play that one team 3 times. If it happens to be the team that is in the opposite league, but in the division that you play that year, because that will be on a 2-year rotational basis, you will play that team twice. And if it happens to be in the opposite league, in the division that you're not playing that year, you'll play that team 1 time then. I probably confused you all, but
yeah. Now,
we've got it all in our brains.
being a Detroit guy, I've got an interesting question.
Yes.
Did you guys know this, that the Tigers are the only team in the MLB that has the color on the road jersey that's not on their home jersey? That being orange.
The orange, that's what I thought, yeah. Okay, interesting. All right, y'all, hour and 6 minutes. I have another glass of whiskey waiting for me. I'm going to go pour it. Y'all have a great night. Thank you all for being here. I'll talk to you later.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Night,
See
Randy.
ya.